Hi, everyone. Time for our weekly video. Today, I'm going to tell you about a client that I coached this week who is dealing with the fact that her lawyer fired her. Her counsel fired her. And even though she really wants to move on and settle her case, she's got a lot of mind drama about the fact that her lawyer ended the relationship. So I'm going to show you her model and show you how we can use the model to think about when these things happen for us. Her lawyer ending the relationship is a circumstance, and all circumstances, as we know, are neutral. Finding it, bear with me, guys. Okay, here we go. So, circumstance in her case, her lawyer ended their engagement. Those are the facts of the equation. Notice I'm not using a word like her lawyer fired her because it's a very charged opinion word. The circumstance are the bare bone facts of what's going on. Now, my client has a lot of thoughts about the fact that her lawyer ended the engagement, but I would say the title of her book of thoughts is I did something wrong, or I did it wrong, or I was a bad client. She has a lot of thoughts. I should have been more complacent. I was aggressive. My lawyer didn't advocate for me. She has a whole lot of thoughts, but we're going to focus in on one thought that we put in the model, which is I did it wrong. I didn't show up properly as a client. And when she thinks that thought that I did it wrong or I didn't show up properly, it evokes a feeling of shame, like there's something wrong with me. The feeling of shame drives certain actions. Most important action that it drives is the desire to hide. So she's not actively seeking other lawyers, and she's probably not talking about this experience with family and friends because their shame has a bit of an embarrassment with it. The other things that she's doing in a state of shame, her action line is that she's beating the crap out of herself. She's beating herself up for the fact that her lawyer ended the engagement. Now, in addition to beating up herself and blaming herself for it, she's also laying some blame on the lawyer, like, well, she didn't advocate for me, so of course I had to get more vocal and advocate for myself. So there's a need to blame when you feel shame. And she starts to doubt her position. Maybe I should have been a more complacent client. I was too vocal about it. I should have just let it go. Well, should she have just let it go? She's doubting her self-advocacy. She saw that things were not being paid attention to, things like property values, real estate values, and she could see that she would be prejudiced by these things. But she's now doubting that she stood up for herself. And she's also not replacing her lawyer anytime quickly. She hasn't had another interview. Result for her, by feeling shame because she's thinking she did this wrong when her lawyer ended the relationship, is that she is doing it wrong for herself. She's really not showing up well. She's showing up wrong for herself. So sometimes it happens that a lawyer will end the relationship. It happened to me with my first lawyer. And I will tell you that when the lawyer ends a relationship with you, it's always for the best. I begged my lawyer to come back in my scenario, and it was the worst decision I could have made. It was terrible in the following motion. If a lawyer doesn't have your back and doesn't want to stick with you through it, and doesn't want you to participate and resents you self-advocating or gets their nose out of joint, you guys are just not on the same page, and it's totally fine. And that's what I'm telling my client. The fact that her lawyer, the circumstance ended the engagement, doesn't have to mean anything about her and how she showed up. It just means that the lawyer doesn't want the engagement. And I would like her to consider believing it's totally okay if the lawyer didn't like the way I showed up. It's totally okay if the lawyer doesn't like my self-advocacy. That's fine. We can be at peace with it. It goes with that theory that I have. Not everybody likes peaches, and you are a peach. Some lawyers like apples. That won't be the right lawyer for you if you're a peach. My client is a peach. She's very bright. She's got lots of accounting skills and she wants to self-advocate. Not a problem. If the lawyer doesn't like that, she's not the right lawyer for you. It means nothing about her. It means something about that lawyer. So when you think that it's okay, she did not like my self-advocacy, you feel more of a sense of peace. And how do you show up when you're feeling at peace? When something like this happens, that the lawyer ended the engagement. Here comes the dog. Well, you got to remind your brain of a few things, that it's totally okay that not everyone likes peaches. It's totally okay that I advocated for myself. And it's totally okay that the lawyer didn't want to work with me because I was advocating for myself, or for whatever reason, she didn't want to work with me. Everybody gets to have their own opinion, and you don't have to live in any kind of shame about it. You can go ahead, go forward, find new counsel. No need to beat yourself up. The result of this model, when you think it's totally okay that the lawyer didn't really appreciate me, is that you have your own back. We don't need the lawyer to validate who you are. You need to validate yourself first before you can find a lawyer who will also have your back and validate you.